the headlines of this hour on VTV News. State President To Lam sworn in. And Vietnam's economy sees positive signs in the first half of the year. In our world news, Singapore Airlines 1 dead, dozen injured after severe turbulence.
Broadcasting from Hanoi, the capital of Vietnam. VTV News starts right now.
Hello, it is 3 p.m. local time and you're watching VTV News. I'm Huyền Tan with the top stories. On Wednesday morning, with the majority of deputies in favor, the National Assembly elected General To Lam, Politburo member, Minister of Public Security, and the 15th National Assembly deputy to the position of State President of the Socialist Republic of Vietnam for the 2021 to 2026 term. Immediately after the National Assembly passed the resolution, State President To Lam was sworn in.
Newly elected State President To Lam took the oath of office on May the 22nd, promising to be loyal to the fatherland, the people and the constitution, and to do his best to complete tasks assigned by the party, state and people. He said the new position allows him to join hands with the Party Central Committee, the Politburo and the Party Central Committee Secretariat, and dedicate all his heart and mind to serving the country and the people, following the path chosen by the party and President Ho Chi Minh.
Vì độc lập, chủ quyền, thống nhất dưới sự lãnh đạo sáng suốt, tài tình, nhạy bén của Đảng.
I pledge to fulfill my duties and rights seriously and comprehensively as the President per the Constitution, conduct my duties on internal, external, defense and security affairs of the country, and along with the party, the people, the army, and other organizations in the political system, ultimately the spirit of independence and autonomy to strive to successfully achieve initiatives set out by the party. I promise to create a modern, efficient, advanced, and developed national governance system and a professional, law-ruled, and modern administrative and judicial system, paying adequate attention to building, consolidating, and promoting the strengths of the great national unity bloc in conjunction with achieving social progress and justice, improving the quality of life and happiness of the people, and leading and organizing the implementation of practical and effective patriotic emulation movement linked to studying and following President Ho Chi Minh ideology, morality, and lifestyle.
State President To Lam affirmed that he will work with the Party Central Committee, the Politburo and the Party Central Committee Secretariat to enhance the party's leadership and ruling and combat capacity, prevent and push back signs of degradation, self-evolution and self-transformation, and effectively implement the foreign policy of multilateralization and diversification of external relations imbued with Vietnam bamboo diplomacy.
Vietnam's economic outlook for the second quarter and the first half of the year is promising. This is thanks to a strong recovery in production and exports and long-term prospects for foreign direct investment or FDI flows. This is the assessment of the Global Economic Research Department. FDI attraction to Vietnam has reversed its fortunes compared to the same period last year. In the first 4 months of this year, total FDI reached more than $9.2 billion, up 4.5%. In the same period last year, it decreased by over 17%. Export turnover increased by more than 15%. This growth is also reflected in Vietnam's Purchasing Managers Index, or PMI, exceeding the 50 threshold. Such results indicate increased orders, supporting a domestic production growth. Vietnam's textile and garment exports this year have seen many clear improvements. According to the Ministry of Industry and Trade, in the first 4 months of 2024, textile and garment export turnover increased by 6.3%, over the same period last year. Many businesses said they have sufficient export orders to last until the end of the third quarter and are negotiating orders for the fourth quarter. If this momentum is maintained, the full-year textile and garment export target of about $44 billion is achievable.
Red Sea tensions have impacted the transportation of goods and raw materials for production. However, market demand increased, and this business could secure long-term orders until the end of October, thanks to closely following the market and quickly converting production.
The biggest growth is still in the European and American markets, while Australia remained a stable market. Our enterprise accelerates production efficiency by using high technology and equipment to increase productivity and reduce costs.
As for this business, it has many orders from the Middle East and ASEAN regions.
We carry out trade promotion activities online and offline and hold face-to-face meetings, so we have more customers from Malaysia, Cambodia, and Singapore.
Most businesses adapt quickly, meeting each other's strict delivery times, product codes, and product quality requirements.
Now enterprises adapt to small production and fast production. For example, production and delivery took 70 to 90 days in the past, but now it takes 45 to 30 days.
Another notable signal is that many retail corporations in free trade agreement blocs, such as Canada, Australia, and Europe, have come to Vietnam to look for a suitable supply chain with competitive prices.
We set out three main pillars for our strategy: market diversification, product diversification, and customer diversification. The total export market is likely to increase to 110 markets globally.
The Vietnam Textile and Apparel Association also said that businesses in the industry are trying to pursue green and digital transformation and improve the quality of goods. When production changes to meet the requirements of importers, textiles and garments are an advantageous commodity group for Vietnam to achieve the set growth goals.
18 banks have adjusted their savings interest rates above 6% per year since the beginning of May. Among them, 4 banks have hiked interest rates twice within the month. Currently, HD Bank offers the highest 18-month saving interest rate at 6.2% per year. According to experts, commercial banks have to raise deposit interest rates to meet the growing capital needs of the economy and to attract idle funds, reducing pressure on investment in high-risk areas. Mobilizing and injecting capital into the economy takes 2 to 3 months. Therefore, although deposit interest rates have increased slightly, lending rates have yet to see any significant changes. Recently, the General Department of Taxation proposed that the state bank research and submit to competent authorities regulations requiring non-cash payments for gold business transaction and stipulate a mechanism to control the related transaction. This proposal is assessed to facilitate management, make tax collection among businesses more equitable, and contribute to transparency in gold trading. However, experts say many things still need to be discussed to put this into practice.
Many people are still in the habit of paying cash, especially when buying and selling gold rings and jewelry. Transferring money when buying accumulated gold will become difficult, especially for older people or places where payment methods still need to be developed.
I find this very inconvenient because many older people don't know how to use smartphones. Forcing them to transfer money like that to buy gold is unreasonable.
I find it very complicated to transfer money. Then when it's transferred, it doesn't come through right away anymore. So customers have to wait for it to arrive before they leave, which also wastes a lot of time.
From another perspective, many people support payment by bank transfer as convenient and safe. Furthermore, this will help make the gold market transparent and avoid groups manipulating the gold market and evading taxes.
Transferring money to buy gold have reduced risk in tax evasion activities or illegal buying and selling of gold lots. Besides, when implementing a cashless system, all transactions will be monitored, including non-direct revenue from the software in the gold store. It will have tax authorities manage trading better.
According to experts, regulations on payment by transfer also need a roadmap. At the same time, this does not only apply to gold bars. Non-cash payments should also apply to other commodity transactions.
If we apply it uniformly to a certain amount of money that requires bank transfer. It must be uniform across all industries and products. It's very strange that we try to impose it differently from other industries.
Experts also believe that it should be surveyed, evaluated and piloted before being implemented on a large scale. If modifications are needed, inadequacies in the implementation process can be corrected.
Only a 20-kilometer stretch of the Diễn Châu Bãi Vọt Expressway segment remains unfinished. Contractors are completing the groundwork and striving to complete the remaining section by June 30th. A 2.2-kilometer section through the Hưng Tân commune in Hưng Nguyên district is proving the most challenging due to subsidence and will require time for load settlement. The Diễn Châu Bãi Vọt Expressway is one of the 11 eastern component projects of the first phase of the North-South Expressway project. Once this is completed, the driving time from Hanoi to Vinh, Nghệ An will be reduced to 3.5 hours instead of over 5 hours. Now, before we move on to other important updates, let's take a look at the foreign exchange rate of today, May 22nd. Coming up next on VTV News. Vietnam strives to conserve biodiversity while improving community livelihoods. And Vietnamese Dai Festival enlivens USA. Moving on to other news, starting on June 1st, all healthcare facilities in Hanoi will launch cashless payment for administrative procedures, fees, and charges. This is a requirement from the Hanoi Department of Health for all transactions to be cashless. This also encourages the use of dynamic QR code software solutions. Staff will be on duty at the one-door section to support people without bank accounts or devices for cashless payment, ensuring quick and convenient transactions. Previously, the city's People's Committee piloted this in Hoàn Kiếm district. The results show that this method is convenient for residents. It also reduces risk associated with handling cash and provides greater transparency in the transaction process. Central Military Hospital 108 has successfully transplanted a heart into a 39-year-old female patient from a brain-dead donor. This marks the first instance in Vietnam where a heart has been transplanted into a patient already equipped with a left ventricular assist device. The patient was diagnosed with end-stage heart failure 5 years ago and had a left ventricular assist device implanted while awaiting a heart transplant opportunity. During the previous surgery, the patient's pericardium failed to close, resulting in her heart adhering to the back of the sternum. Following a 4-hour transplantation procedure and partial artificial heart synchronization, the patient's heart resumed beating. Nearly a week after the transplant, the patient's health has shown significant signs of recovery. Today, May 22nd, is International Biodiversity Day. With the theme Be Part of the Plan, Vietnam is promoting several programs under the National Strategy on Biodiversity to 2030 Vision by 2050. The country focuses on its main goal of biodiversity conservation while promoting a sustainable development and improving community livelihoods.
For the first time, villagers in the core and buffer zones receive one of the 36 endemic rhododendron varieties in Hoàng Liên National Park. This first batch of 1,000 seedlings is expected to be harvested next year. These trees not only enhance the beauty of the local homestay to attract tourists, but also provides flower crops for sale.
Growing the trees here will prevent people from entering the forest to collect trees and sell them to tourists.
These precious trees are gradually disappearing in the forest. The locals growing this tree are utilizing them while preserving the trees effectively.
By the end of 2019, Vietnam's primary forest area has only spanned 500,000 hectares, accounting for less than a quarter of the country's total forest area.
Forests provide wood and other benefits such as environmental protection, carbon, and tourism services. The Forestry Department will advise the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development to remove obstacles to fully exploit the forest ecosystem values, contributing to biodiversity, conservation, and livelihood improvement.
Biodiversity conservation associated with development is also a key component of the Global Biodiversity Framework that Vietnam signed up to in 2022. Forest preservation also helps to improve carbon absorption capacity. The first $51.5 million received from the carbon credits demonstrates Vietnam's policy of conservation for development.
Rangers are frontline conservation workers playing a critical role in protecting and safeguarding biodiversity and forest resources. And over the past 50 years, forest rangers in Vietnam have made significant contributions to forest protection, serving the communities that live in and around protected and conserved areas. As fires destroy 500 hectares of forest in the first 5 months of this year, rangers have strengthened efforts to enhance the effectiveness of forest protection measures.
7 ranger stations have gone all out of the protection of nearly 1,000 hectares of forest, including 15 buffer areas in Ba Vy National Park for more than 20 years. Despite their hard work, rangers are still classified as state civil servants. According to Dung, who has nearly 40 years of experience, this professional title has caused difficulties for rangers.
When rangers detect any illegal cases, they are not allowed to handle administrative violation. Instead, rangers must report such incidents to local authorities or district ranger stations.
According to the government's Decree No. 1, specialized forest guards in special use forests and rangers in protection forests are administrative units affiliated with the Central Forest Ranger Organization. They are managed by the government and provincial level agencies.
Since the Decree No. 1 was implemented in 2019, forest rangers at national parks have taken on the responsibilities of specialized forest protection forces. They are not allowed to use weapons and wear ranger uniforms. Therefore, if they get injured during their patrol, they will not be eligible for preferential policies and other benefits or support provided for war invalids and martyrs.
We should submit a proposal to the National Assembly asking the government to consider and recognize the forest rangers' responsibilities as special duties, which require hard work and great efforts. Forest ranger forces deserve more preferential policies.
When they are on patrol, forest rangers may face cruel crimes, and it is dangerous as perpetrators have weapons. As forest rangers work in dangerous conditions amid shortages of support equipment, they are still looking forward to changes in the government's policies. The improvement in benefits will keep forest rangers engaged and committed to their job.
Gioc Waterfall in Cao Bang has been named among the 21 most beautiful waterfalls in the world by U.S. travel magazine Travel Plus Leisure. Located on the Vietnam-China border, Gioc Waterfall boasts majestic scenery that resembles a fairyland. The waterfall reaches a height of over 60 meters, with the longest drop being 30 meters. It encompasses a series of cascades flowing over multiple rock layers. Also known as one of the most beautiful waterfalls in Vietnam, Gioc is one of the largest natural waterfalls in Southeast Asia. The best time to visit Cao Bang is from September to December, when Gioc Waterfall is crystal blue. The province is also an ideal destination in the summer due to its fresh air and cool water, which helps to alleviate the heat. A special Vietnamese Áo Dài festival in the United States recently kicked off in San Jose, California. This festival is elevated by the profile of Áo Dài, from a national traditional dress to an international fashion product. The event showcases Vietnamese Áo Dài and the talent of renowned fashion designers, artists, musicians, and dancers.
Áo Dài is honored as a unique cultural feature of the Vietnamese community in the United States. The beauty of the national identity is also conveyed through the language of fashion.
I invited 3 designers from Vietnam to introduce our fashion to the public, to show the development of our country through diverse Áo Dài and evolving fashion.
Participating in this year's festival, designer Hoài Nam brought a hand-embroidered wedding collection inspired by the legend of the Phoenix. Another highlight of the collection is the international models. They not only meet Vietnamese notions of beauty, but showcase Áo Dài in a way that satisfies international beauty preferences.
I want Áo Dài to be more well-known, to promote the beauty of Vietnamese Áo Dài, and for people to also wear Áo Dài at church weddings.
The profound impressions on the audience mirrors the growing image of Vietnamese Áo Dài.
I feel very happy. It gives me a nostalgic sense of the homeland and a sense of pride in our traditional beauty.
Feel the difference. It makes you feel like you're someone special, even if you're not. And you understand where everything comes from, the time it put in, the time and the extravagance they have for these traditional dresses. I love it.
Festivals like this preserve national identity and promote the traditional value of the homeland in overseas countries.
Coming up next in our world news. 1 dead, dozen injured after severe turbulence on a Singapore Airlines. And Russia starts exercise to stipulate launch of tactical nuclear weapons. Now moving on to our world news, a Singapore Airlines flight from London was diverted and an emergency landing in Bangkok was made on Tuesday due to severe turbulence. Local media reported 1 passenger on board dead and multiple injuries. More to follow.
Zafran Azmur was among many passengers on the Singapore Airlines flight that was hit by heavy turbulence, leaving 1 dead and dozens injured. The plane was buffeted by turbulence that flung passengers and crew around the cabin, slamming some hard into the ceiling.
There were people within the lavatories and the crew that were working. Anybody who were standing, especially the people within the lavatories, and were the most injured from what I've seen. But I saw people from across the aisle just like going completely horizontal, hitting the ceiling and landing back down in like really awkward positions. People like getting massive gashes in their head, concussions.
The turbulence caused the plane's altitude to drop rapidly from 37,000 feet to about 31,000 feet. A 73-year-old British passenger died of a suspected heart attack, and at least 30 people were injured. After the incident, Singapore Airlines took those who could continue on a flight from Bangkok to Singapore. Singapore's Transport Safety Investigation Bureau is investigating the incident, and the U.S. National Transportation Safety Board is also sending representatives to support the inquiry. There were 211 passengers and 18 crew on board. The airline said its priority was to assist passengers and crew on board the aircraft as soon as possible.
Russian forces have started the first stage of exercises ordered by President Vladimir Putin to stimulate preparation for the launch of tactical nuclear weapons, according to the Russian Defense Ministry on Tuesday. The ongoing exercise aims to ensure the Russian state's territorial integrity and sovereignty in response to Western provocative statements and threats. Troops are training in missile formations to load vehicles with Iskander ballistic missiles and then drive them to designated areas in a mock test. Aviation personnel practice equipping Kinsale hypersonic missiles and special warheads onto fighter jets and flying them to designated zones. Malaysia will limit the number of foreign workers to under 15% of the domestic workforce. The Malaysian Minister of Home Affairs, Saifuddin Nasution Ismail, recently announced this in Kuala Lumpur. Speaking to reporters after attending a joint committee meeting with the Minister of Human Resources, the Home Affairs Minister said the number of foreign workers will reach 15% by the end of the year. According to Malaysia's estimation, the foreign workforce includes the number of existing foreign workers, those who employers have approved quotas, and those registered under the Workforce Readjustment Program. With the number of domestic workers estimated at 17.1 million, the equivalent number of foreign workers allowed will be 2.65 million. Malaysia has stopped issuing new permits for foreign workers as the number is approaching the allowed threshold. The U.S. health regulator has allowed billionaire Elon Musk Neuralink to implant its brain chip in a second person after it proposed to fix a problem that occurred in its first patient on Monday. Earlier this month, Neuralink said tiny wires implanted in the brain of its first patient had pulled out of position. The fixes include embedding some of the device's ultra-thin wires, each thinner than a strand of human hair, deeper into the brain. Neuralink aims to conduct its next implant in June this year. 10 implants will take place this year after Elon Musk said that applications were open for a second participant. Now let's move on to the weather forecast. And that's all the news we have for this hour. To rewatch our program, you can download our mobile app VTVgo or check out our YouTube channel VTV4Go. Thank you for watching and see you next time.